Sometimes we paint Nigeria as one of the most unsafe countries in the world, one of the most unsafe places to stay in the world. But recently, I passed through Egypt. I stayed for only 72 hours, barely 3 days, and I was robbed twice. And sincerely, in one of the robbery, it was as if I was watching a movie. It was like I was watching Tom Cruise movie, Mission Impossible or something. And I was surprised. I was like, this is supposed to be a way more secured country. You see, don't get me wrong. Cairo is beautiful. It's a beautiful place, especially with the historic sites. I mean, a lot of things are there that would really make you that you will not be bored. They have well preserved history, and especially if you are like a Muslim, you would have so much history of the Salahuddin Mosque, the Azhar University, for example. These are beautiful places you can go, and they build a lot of beautiful and innovative mosques all over the place. And you have things like the Pharaoh, the pyramids of Giza. Those are places that you can go and you really catch fun. The place is actually worthy of tourist activities. You can even take boat rides on the River Nile. So there are 1001 things, and that was just in Cairo. I only stayed in Cairo because I could not even cover the potential places I could visit in Cairo. So it's actually quite beautiful. There are museums, and on top of the natural things or historical things they have, they still invest in building interesting places like the Cairo Towers, where you can go up and see the whole of Cairo around it, like a panoramic view of the whole of Cairo, where you see the Nile below you and everything. So they really have beautiful places worthy of visit. And the other thing there is the city. At least I can't speak for the whole country, but for the cities that I visited, you can tell that these cities are well policed. Getting back to the point where the story started changing, a few days before then, I had just bought an iPhone 15 Pro. And I mean, traveling around, especially in many of these Middle East countries, there are so many places they won't allow you to take photographs, they won't allow you to take cameras into. The best you can do, like even if you go to the Haram in Mecca and places like that in Jordan, many of them have a lot of places where you can take a serious camera to. So, as a travel documentary slash journalists, you are better off having a good phone to do your work. So I had just saved money over time to buy an iPhone 15 Pro Max. So it was really precious and very important to me. That evening, like 5 p.m. kind of thing, we were going in Cairo, just coming from one of those locations and everything. And we are going at around 100 kilometers per hour. I mean, the car was speeding, it was on the expressway. And ahead of us, I saw two guys on like a power bike, solid power bike. One guy driving, the other one at the back, and I was just admiring them, asking the Uber guy that these youths in Cairo, how are they? The general youth in Egypt, how are they? What's like their disposition, their moral standards and stuff? Just generally gisting about them. I didn't know as we're having them in front, they were slowing down. We passed them, so I just lost track of them. We were just having that discussion. The phone was on this hand, and I was talking to the taxi guy. And from nowhere, I just saw a hand came into the car and grabbed the phone. I mean, I'm talking at 100 kilometers at full high speed. Grabbed the phone. I was just lucky that the driver swerved away from them, almost even tipping them over and things like that. And then he could not, and then instinctively I also held on to the phone, and so he could not actually drag it out of my hand. That was how he just zoomed off, and I was like, what? That would have been the end of this phone, because the speed of that power back is not what a car can catch up, and they could easily just change lane and enter another road, and that would be it. You cannot chase anybody. You cannot. Where would you even go and report? What's their plate number? How do you go from there? So it was the most daring kind of robbery I've ever seen. I've seen phones being snatched in Brazil during the World Cup. I've seen phone being snatched even in Nigeria and stuff. But you will be stopped. It will be a car that is stopped, not a car traveling at 100 kilometers per hour. That was something that shocked uh, a lot of the respect of safety that I had for the city of Cairo at that point. And I was really shocked. Before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share the video, especially comment. Let's hear from you. So the other instance was not really like a robbery. It was more of just being hassled and harassed into not. They don't force you, but you know how when you go to markets, even in Nigeria here, when you go to markets in Lagos, especially around the electronics market or clothes markets, where you have like with the Igbo guys, they are very insistent and aggressive in calling you to their shop. Oh, guys, see, I get time, waiting, those kind of things. These guys are on another level. They will hassle you and everything, and smooth talk you, everything they can do. It took a lot of strength for me to buy just a few bottles, maybe like 7 bottles of those their perfumes. They will say it's some special oil from their family, from this, from that, and you would just be hassled essentially into buying and everything. And what's painful there is that after a few weeks, after I got back home, I just realized that most of them, they are just, whether it's groundnut oil itself that is inside, I don't know, they are just engine oil or something. The whole smell is gone. The thing is, this one even looks like a starch that they poured inside. I don't know, Seth. So, I mean, with the way they will swear on their father, on their everything, that this is some special, some oud, some this and that, I was really disappointed. This was like from like 3 or 4 shops that I could not get myself emotionally not to buy from them and everything. So some of these experiences, weak me a bit, but I would definitely, Cairo and Egypt is still definitely a place I will still go back to. On the overall, place definitely feels safer. So that's my story for today. That's the experience I want to share today. I hope you found it interesting, somewhat informative, and encourage you to travel. I actually think there is a lot of learning to be learned as you travel across Nigeria, across the world, and across the country. There is actually a lot that you can learn. So that will be it for today. If you have watched for this long, it would be nice if you could drop a like, comment where your own experiences traveling around the world compared to your own country. How have they been? And do you still think Nigeria is like as bad as it's described sometimes? Personally, I don't think. I think we just have our own peculiarities and stuff like that. So that will be it for today. I remain Jibril Ibrahim. I'll see you in the next one.